I would have a big song prepared, but I'm just going to play this. It is an old song, okay? But when you're interviewing, I want you to think about one thing. If you remember only one thing today, come on in. You guys all know it. I know, I'm old school. But I'm going to play this song real quick. Who can name it? Who can name it? Leave yourself on the wall. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to play the whole song, but the gist of the song and the movie is what? Can you tell me? What's that? Yeah, the movie's 8 Mile, but what is the theme behind it? That's one of them.
You only get one shot.
Thank you. One shot. When you're interviewing, you get one shot. Okay, so hopefully if I can teach you one or two things here, you remember that, listen to the song. I even have people sit in their cars before their interviews and they will crank up whatever music. I don't care if you listen to Beethoven, whatever. We had a fraternity brother from INU. He loved that. But I want you to think you got one shot. One shot to nail this interview, and you may not get another chance to interview with that company. Okay, so my name again is Jim Leingang. Yes, I am I guess they would call it a headhunter from the old days. I'm an account manager with Strategic Staffing Solutions. We're an international staffing firm. My specialty is IT, and here in St. Louis alone, I've hired 60 people, or helped 60 people get hired, and that was before October. So what do I do, and why would any of this be relevant to you is I don't get paid unless I hire people or help them get hired. And they don't pay me, but my customers, like a Monsanto, entrust in my company or myself to help identify the top talent and to make sure that they're a very good match for the jobs that they have. So it's professional recruiter, outside recruiter. My job is an account manager with our company. So does that all make sense? Any questions about that? And what is my motivation? Is I want to make sure I hire really good people like Alex Pham in the back, who's a superstar that we hired just 5-6 months ago, and he's also a fraternity brother. In fact, one of my coworkers comes back, she was so excited, she goes, we got a Delta Sig. We got a Delta Sig, I met him. And she was so excited, and comes and tells me, well, it was a little extra motivation that I could help him. But in the 18 years in staffing, I've helped probably 30, 40 plus Delta Sigs get jobs or hire them or help them hire people as well. So I'm going to start off with just a couple things that I think are critical. One is the basics of interviewing, and we're going to talk about that again later, but the basics to me you cannot underestimate. So the basics, it's being prepared for the interview, doing homework on yourself. So 3 things: doing homework on yourself, doing homework on the individual that you're interviewing with, and doing homework on the company. Okay? So, basics. Get into the interview early, 15 minutes ahead of time. If you're not there 15 minutes early, you're late. I've had people show up physically late to an interview, and I'm waiting there, and I'm about ready to, really go into them. But it happens, and there's excuses behind it. I don't care. Drive to the interview the night before. Find out where you're going. Okay? Writing a thank you note after the interview. Again, it's basics of an interview is really what's going to make sure that you can get through it. Okay, so doing homework on yourself. I'm going to ask you a question here. In an interview, do you focus on, like, say you guys have all had an internship and they ask you about, the internship. Do you focus on the responsibilities of that internship as you're trying to sell yourself, or do you focus on the accomplishments? Anyone? This is an easy question. Which would you rather focus? If you're talking about what you've done, do you focus on your responsibilities, or do you focus upon your accomplishments? Go ahead, Tony.
Your responsibilities that fill into your accomplishments.
Close, but I would always focus on accomplishments first. So I'm going to give you another little kind of acronym features, accomplishments, and benefits. I call it FAB. So the FAB interview style, features, accomplishments, benefits. So if I'm interviewing, I'm going to focus on one unique feature. So my unique feature is I specialize in IT staffing. And one unique feature is I've been the #1 recruiter with our company on a national level for like the last 18 years. One accomplishment is I've helped raise over $1 million every year for my company. And the benefit to you, if you were going to hire me, is that I'm going to raise a lot of money for you, probably over $1 million every year. So feature, accomplishment, benefit. So the benefit is not what you've done in the past, but the benefit is what you're going to do in the future. Okay? So the FAB recruiting or interviewing style, to me, it's the only way to interview. And in other words, if I'm Alex, I'm not going to talk about my day-to-day responsibilities. So how many of you guys have an internship? Okay? So, young lady, what's your name back there?
Diane.
Okay, tell me one thing that you did that really stood out at your internship.
We were working towards migrating to a new platform, so I took a look at the customer data features and made sure that everything was inside.
I would expand upon that because I think numbers, and I know it's not always the case, but they're easily remembered. So how have you saved time, how have you saved money, or how have you helped make money? Remember those three things, okay? How have you saved time, how have you saved money, or how have you made money? So that's doing homework on yourself, and I would encourage each of you, go home, come up with 5 to 7 accomplishments about any internships that you've done, or if you had other jobs and you're switching jobs. Think about those things and create your unique features, and then upon that, unique accomplishments, and then what are the benefits to an employer. So the fact that you did a software upgrade, that's awesome, but why did they do it? It's probably because it was crashing, or there wasn't capability, or you wanted to take it mobile, and you're going to help the salespeople sell more money, or sell more products and make more money for the company. Okay? So that's a great example, but just do a little more homework on it. Okay? So be prepared. Work on doing your homework on yourself. Okay? Second thing we're talking about is doing homework on the employer, right? So you can easily nowadays put in Jim Leingang, Strategic Staffing Solutions, and probably find out more about me than we ever could 25 years ago, right? Can any of you tell me a couple of ways to do that? Good. What else? Yeah. Sorry, company bios. Exactly. Yeah. You could probably jump on our company website and see a little bit about either our branch or me. Mm-hmm. Believe me, take advantage of all that. What's another way to find out about me? Facebook. Exactly. My wife posts everything about us on there. And our 2 kids and everything. Exactly. You all have that advantage. So do your homework on the interviewer beforehand. Another great way, you're in here, right? Find out that they're a Delta Sig. Find out one thing about them and start calling your friends. Calling other Delta Sigs. I mean, you probably would know I had 6 Delta Sigs in my wedding and who they probably were. If you found anything about them and you were LinkedIn, don't just link in, call those people. Find out, okay, what is Jim Leingang like? Okay? So find out, do your research on the interviewer and do your research on the company as well. Okay? So, okay, we're 10:12. We got about another 10-15 minutes. I'm going to arm you with 2 of my favorite questions during an interview. How about that? Okay? So I didn't formally plan something because I want to give you 10 minutes at least to ask me any kind of question. But before I forget, so my 2 favorite questions in an interview. What are the main responsibilities, the top 2 or 3 responsibilities of this job? And what are the top 2 or 3 skills that interviewer is looking for? Anyone tell me when you ask those questions? In the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of the interview? Huh? So top 2, real easy. Remember, responsibilities and skills. You don't have to write a whole hell of a lot down. 2 or 3, responsibilities and skills. When do you ask that question, Melissa?
I interview at Marina, recruit Marina. I wouldn't until the end. I would rather them wait till the end.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're an internal recruiter at Farina, right? Okay. If I'm an external recruiter, I'm going to recommend that they ask it in the beginning. And I'm going to tell you why. Or someone tell me why. And I don't want to upset anyone from Farina because I helped brother Mike Mitchell get a job down there. Do you know Mike? He's a WashU.
He's an IT.
Yes.
I work with him a lot.
Well, ask him how he got his job down there. He was in my wedding, so.
I do IT. So.
Awesome. So why would you do it in the beginning? Yeah.
Because then you can tailor your responses to those skills and responsibilities.
Give me a little high five here. Awesome. It's exact. Can you say it a little louder?
You can tailor your responses to the skills and responsibilities that the job needs.
Exactly. So to me, in sales, you got to know what you're selling, right? So you remember that fab presentation that I told you about, having your examples ready to go. Once you find out what Melissa really wants, or the person that you're interviewing, hopefully they tell you, but not everyone's as experienced as Melissa. There's a lot of folks, once you get to there, they don't know how to interview. So they're there and they'll ask you, oh, tell me about yourself. Tell me about yourself. And a lot of IT guys. So, I mean, anyone's in IT, they know some of these, they don't know how to ask you these things. So you almost got to help drive it. So to me, you want to ask them, you know, if they ask you, tell me about yourself. Hi, my name is Jim Leingang. I'm a senior account manager in Strategic Staffing Solutions, and I give them one accomplishment about me. But before we, you know, if at all possible, with all due consideration, would you tell me maybe the top 2 or 3 responsibilities of this position, and maybe the top 2 or 3 skills that you're looking for? So I think it's highly effective, okay? Because really what you're about, and whether you're interviewing at Karina, formally in an interview room, or whether you're at a bar, or maybe you're out at a fraternity function, you want to really find that out. You really want to customize yourselves, okay? So top 2 or 3 questions, okay? Top 2 questions that are the most negative questions out there. 1, what kind of money are you? What's that?
What does your company do? That's asking that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm surprised at that. I do a lot of college recruiting, so it's kind of interesting.
Well, that's not a good one, obviously.
What was the response?
What's your company do?
I did a lot of research on your company, so can you tell me what you guys do? I've gotten that more than once. Or they think we need to.
Wow. So I'm going to flip this question. So the top 2 or 3 questions to be prepared for, that in my opinion are the most negative questions and are hard questions. So if Melissa asks you, what kind of salary are you looking to make? Gosh, I mean, I'd start getting nervous. And how many of you like that question? No, we call it the money question. And I'll teach you later on maybe some responses to that. But you never know. I mean, I don't know about the benefits of Nestle. I don't know about really the job at this point. So I encourage to have kind of an open range. But you really want to do your homework on what that position really does pay. And to me, I like a descriptive range. As in, if I'm looking for 35 to 40, I would encourage them to say mid-30s to low 40s. So using descriptive like low, mid, upper when you're describing the salary. Okay? So have a range, because I don't want to be over what Melissa wants to pay. Maybe Melissa's thinking max is 40, and I've said low 40s. Okay, I'm in there. But I also don't want to leave any money on the table either, right? If I could get a little higher, but it really does depend on the benefits and whether they offer full medical or paid time off or anything like that. Okay, so we've only got another 5 minutes. I'm open for anything that you want to ask me, okay? And this is your one and only chance to help get you prepared and to nail that interview. So, any questions? Who wants to start with one? Brad, you're an expert. Question? Yeah.
What's the top behavioral question
That's a good question. So we'll ask them in the office, and then I know on behalf of like Monsanto, tell me about a time when you had a difficult customer, or tell me about a time when you had to lead a meeting, and what was your preparation for it? But those are tough. So did you guys all hear that? Top behavioral questions. So I would Google them and I would practice them. So you just type in behavioral interview questions, because what I find nowadays is most companies ask at least half of their interview questions are behavioral. What's that?
All of ours.
All of yours are? Yeah.
What's kind of building off of that? How would you look upon somebody having answers already written to a plethora of behavioral questions, and then like in the interview, you ask one and they like flip to a page and they have an answer already written? How do you really put that?
I don't know about flipping to a second page or a third page. Now, I don't have any problem with someone having a nice interview folder. Who's got one here? Yep. Just like this. And I would actually have their name written down. So the interviewer name up top, and I'd use that multiple times. And I'd have a few kind of just, triggers that would tell me, oh, I want to, respond to this, or it's a good accomplishment. But I don't know about having. And I've even had people like hand me references in the middle of an interview. I'm like, I didn't ask you for it. I don't want that. So there's always the time and place for it. But one of my favorite questions too is, do you mind if I take some notes? And then I'm writing notes down throughout the time. Okay. What else?
Sometimes I keep my resume right here just in case I get a question. It's like, it stumps me. Tell me about a time, and I might just look and, I'll be reminded about this and then talk about that. I think that's okay. It doesn't look like.
No. Be prepared, because I'm telling you, some of these managers, their day is 10, 12-hour days, and I haven't printed off a resume. And just having your resume there shows me that you're prepared. Just like a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, be prepared. I'm not kidding. Have your resume there. And I don't think there's a problem with just, taking a quick peek at it.
Yeah.
But really at this point, you're there, you're just talking. The best interviews are just they're flowing. What else? Question?
Slightly off topic.
Yeah.
Cover letter, no cover letter?
I don't have any problems with the cover letter, but in my opinion, there's so many different ways nowadays to have it. It could be a nice, just in the body of the email, or it could be, it's any form of communication at this point. Maybe it's how you got introduced to the company. My fraternity brother, Mike Bear, recommended your company, and very interested in this opportunity. So really, it's what is the goal of the cover letter? The goal of the cover letter is many times is to get an interview. So sure, as long as you know how to ask it, and you're keeping it brief, in my opinion. If I have to read a book, I'm done. I'm not going to. Okay, one last thing, because we only got a few more minutes here. Tips for an interview. My opinion, an interview is a lot like a good book or a good movie, in the sense that it has three parts. One, to me, is the beginning. It's the opening. And if you've ever interviewed folks, you'll know within about 5-10 minutes whether you're going to continue. I've seen some really strange folks. I've seen people that show up, and one, they smell like smoke, and I discriminate about a lot of things. I'm sorry, I do. If someone can't come and look sharp, if they have body odor, I'm going to know real quick. So, but to me, it's also in the intro whether this person's going to catch my attention, like a good movie, like a good book. Okay? So the intro. Then to me, there's also like the body of the interview. And the body of the interview is really where it's that really good dialogue about what the job is and what your accomplishments. So you're really selling the accomplishments that we talk about, or the FABs, the features, accomplishments, benefits. Okay? And then the end. Do not forget, the end of any interview, you better close it. You want this, you want to go to the next step, whatever that is, close it. And there's a couple of good questions that I like to ask if I'm interviewing. What's the next step? So, Corey, I really enjoyed our conversation here. What's the next step? I've had some say, I'm really interested in this opportunity. When can I start? So really, it depends on how the interview's going, but you're really trying to read them. Does that make sense? So when you're interviewing, think about that. Those are all key pieces. Okay? I wrote a few notes down to make sure that I hit the highlights of them. I've hit my main ones. Any other questions? Anything else I can do for you? You guys ready? You feel armed? Yeah? You feel like, you're going to go and nail it? Well, good luck. Oh, yeah.
You mentioned earlier sending a thank you note for the interview. Would an email suffice?
If you emails would suffice, but is it going to really catch my attention?
So you prefer maybe a handwritten?
Ask me how many handwritten thank yous have I gotten in the last year?
How many?
Maybe one, but I can't even remember it. That's the sad thing is. And how many emails do I get every day? 500, 600 at least. I don't remember what the hell I got 2-3 days ago. My wife gets mad because she emailed me. I don't remember what the hell she emailed me. So you know what? You want to stand out. If you really do, nice handwritten thank you. As long as the punctuation and the spelling and the grammar. I had one guy send me one. It was so bad. And he sent it off. Well, I actually sent it directly to the customer. I was like, oh my God, there was about 8 spelling and grammar mistakes. And I saved that one. He still got the job because there's a very rare IT skill that he had. But yeah, so the basics. Remember the basics behind it. But try something different. So maybe a nice little start or something like that. Nice, nice. What else? Any other questions? About running out of time. Yeah.
What differences in strategies would you suggest using in on-campus interviews or college recruiting versus moving from your first job to another job?
So that's a good question. For the on-campus interviews, boy, you got heavy competition amongst a lot of your fellow graduates, right? So I think you got to look at how you're going to stand out. A lot changes once you graduate, and maybe a year or two down the road that you're looking for that next opportunity. So look at one, how much homework that you can do beforehand, and really you're kind of a little bit. I would say it's more to your advantage once you've graduated and then you're already working, so you can really plan out a lot more. At this point, a lot of companies are coming in. A lot of your internships do make a big difference, okay? So if you haven't done internships now and you're still like a junior, I would do everything you could to get an internship, okay? And work your fraternity connections. I'm not kidding you, almost every job I've ever gotten. So, in fact, my first job out of college, any of you guys know? If you're alum, you don't get to answer this. Any of you guys know what my first job was right out of college? I worked for Delta Sig. So my first job out of college for 2 years was traveling around the country having just an awesome time. So my point is I was competing against all collegiate brothers around the country for those 3 jobs that they awarded. So think about, like, if you're Ida New, it really helped that Ida New had won collegiate national awards, or that I was in charge of certain pieces at Ida New. So volunteering within the fraternity, making a name for yourself on a national level, meaning going to national and regional events, getting to know alumni, I think is huge now and also later on. Okay? So I'm going to wrap up. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity. And good luck with you guys.